All right, hey guys, welcome to Team Forever Strong's weekly team call. Today is September 28th. I always have to look at the date because I always forget. Couple days left in the month, and tonight I'm super fired up because we are having a guest speaker. So I will introduce her in a few minutes, but I have a couple really important things that I wanted to make sure that I went over before I handed it over to her. So first of all, welcome to any new coaches on the team who have just been introduced into the team page and who are on our team call tonight. We are so excited to have you guys here. You're going to love being a part of this team. Everyone is seriously so supportive and just so inspiring, and we're all here to help one another. So you guys are in great hands, and you guys are going to love it. So thanks for being here. Also wanted to go over, I want to say congratulations to Kim Fortner, who is the Coach of the Week. Each week I've been selecting a Coach of the Week. It has nothing to do with the rank or Success Club. It's just someone who I feel has really gone just above and beyond to really come out of their comfort zone, get vulnerable, be really inspiring, and is just leading with heart. I'm really looking for those kinds of things. And so every day this week, look for her because she's going to be in the team page, either going live with a different theme or she's going to be making a post about it. So she's an incredible coach, guys, and she has never, ever, ever taken her eye off of where she's going in this business. So make sure that you keep an eye out for her and you listen to the things that she has to say. All right, we are launching in the UK, guys, next month. So this is huge, 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 huge. I cannot stress this enough for you guys, what a huge opportunity this is for you and for your team and for your business. So we have our free group that started on Monday for people who want to learn more about becoming a coach on the team. That started on Monday. I'm actually going to leave it open until we launch. So as you guys are talking to people and they want to learn more about it, make sure that you add them to that free group. Really making sure, guys, that you are making it a priority to go behind the scenes and connect and build relationships with people over in the UK. Not spamming them, not blasting them with, spammy, salesy messages, but truly going behind the scenes and getting to know them to build that relationship. And it starts now. If you guys aren't doing that now, I don't know what to tell you, but this is an incredible opportunity for you guys. So take advantage of it. And every day when you go to do your power hour or power hours, make sure that that is a big piece of it. All right. I'm also going to be setting up a Zoom call next week that I will let you guys know about for the people in the UK so that we can meet face to face. We can learn more about them, what they do now for their work. It's just going to be very informal, but I have a lot of people on board. So as soon as I have the exact time and day nailed down for next week, I will let you guys know so that you can start adding people to it. Okay. And last but not least, we have our Success Club push group that is still up and running, guys. And we have some incredible coaches in there who are sharing their best tips and action steps of what they know has helped them hit Success Club. And they're sharing that with you guys. So even though there are only 2 days left in the month, guys, you still have plenty of time to help 3 people get started on their health and fitness journey, or to help bring somebody on to your team. So don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. It's not over till it's over. And you get till midnight Eastern Standard Time. I know to this day, still 3 years later, I am up until midnight because I want to be here for people on the team who are pushing for it if they need help, tips, advice. And even though, if you're already in Success Club, still keep pushing to try to help more people. Okay, so with that being said, now let me introduce you to our guest speaker. I am so pumped about this. But tonight, we have Ruth Shrauner speaking with us, guys, and we are so lucky. She has been a coach for 3 years. She was a top 2-time Elite 25 team and is currently leading the number 3 team in the network right now. So we are learning from the best of the best. She is a Superstar Diamond, which is the highest ranking level that you can possibly get to in this business. She is a Success Club 10 legend. She is a 6-figure income earner, and she's an executive leader on the leadership level ladder, which is, again, the highest that you can possibly get to in this business. So fired up and so pumped to hear from her. You guys are going to love her, and we're going to learn so much. So I hope you brought your pen and your notebook, because get ready to get a fire lit. because it's happening. Thank you so much, Ruth, for being on. Can't wait to get you.
No problem. Well, thank you for that introduction. I hope I light a fire. No pressure. I'm excited to be here. And I'm going to start with this, actually. So I hope you guys have a pen and paper. And I hope you are ready to do some thinking, because I really want you guys to kind of think on this tonight as well while I'm speaking, and it's going to be a little bit interactive. So the first thing I want you to do, and this, I need it to be a gut reaction, okay? I want you to write down the answer to this question. What is your biggest challenge right now in your business? Write down the answer to that question. All right. So I am going to tell you a little bit more about who I am and where I came from and all of that. But I'm actually going to start again by asking you another question as well. We're going to come back to that one in just a minute. But I want you guys to think about your why in this business. If you go back to the first time this opportunity was presented to you, or maybe the first time you saw Kathy share something really amazing about her own journey on social media, maybe you saw that and it inspired you. When you first came into this business, or currently, or if there were no rules, what is your why in this business and in life? What do you want out of it? What do you want out of this business or out of your life? I know you guys have probably been asked that how many times, right? Like, what's your why that makes you cry, all these things that we hear, you have to have that why, and it's so important. And I'm actually going to ask you to look at it a little bit differently tonight, because I was sitting at Summit, at the leadership Summit conference that they had, like where we had the afternoon of leadership, and I had two coaches in there with me. And we were listening to Brendan Burchard, and he was speaking about, how to be successful and the vision, either the vision or your pain point. Which one is it going to be? A vision that pulls you, or your pain point that pushes you, or whatever that saying is. And I thought about that, and I was like, okay, that's good. And I looked at my coach, Ashley, and I was like, and we started talking about it, and we started saying, all three of us that were in there, we had a reason we needed this business, and we had a pain point. And as we were having this conversation, I actually said to her, you know what? That's not true at all. That's not true at all. Our lives weren't that much worse than most people. And let me explain that. So I'm going to explain it. So I am a mess. No details. I'm not detail oriented. If you guys I'm a huge disaster. And for the first 6 months of the year, I walked around with a cracked cell phone screen. I do my business on my cell phone, and I had two big old cracks running through my cell phone screen that I never fixed until I just got this phone a week ago. And, anytime I'd be in public on my phone, I'd be using it, and someone would look over my shoulder and they'd be like, oh my gosh, what happened to your phone? And I'd be like, what are you talking about? It's fine. It's working. I'm using it. And they'd be like, no, there is a huge crack in your phone. Doesn't that drive you insane? And I'd be like, oh, you're talking about, the crack. Yeah, the crack. I'm like, no, yeah, it's just, I don't even notice it anymore. It's just there. Like, yeah, but I've gotten used to it. I've gotten used to that crack. And see, the thing is I think that we all have cracks in our life. I think we all have these cracks in our life that are inconvenient and that are annoying. And we have adapted to them. And we have decided that it is our normal. And we have started to overlook it as something that is a pain point. And instead, we have told ourselves, it's okay. I don't even notice it. It's not even a big deal. Why would I go to Verizon and spend 30 minutes to get my phone fixed? That's way too much way too much responsibility. So I'm just going to put up with this massive crack in my phone forever. And that's what we do in life, is we have these pain points. Every single person who isn't living the life of their dreams has a pain point. But instead of seeing it as a pain point, we settle. We say, you know what? Like, I'm blessed because of this. Yes, yes, this is hard, but I'm blessed in other ways. And we settle. We decide that we don't need to change because, that might mean that we're ungrateful, or that might mean that, we're not content. Like we aren't grateful for what we've already been given. But when I looked at my cracks 3 years ago in my life, they terrified me. And the funny thing is, I don't know why they terrified me. So let's back up a little bit, because 3 years ago, my husband is an equine surgeon. So he's a veterinarian. He specializes in equine surgery. It's one of the highest paid veterinary specialties that you can get into. I have a master's degree in instructional design. So that sounds good, right? Like, look at us. We have 4 degrees. We spent so much time on our education. Everybody from the outside looking in would have looked at us and our titles and have said like, oh, wow, they've got it figured out. And you know what? We were probably going to go our entire life and pretend that we had no cracks and pretend that we had it figured out. But if you want to know the reality of what was happening when I found Beachbody 3 years ago, it was very, very different. The reality is that under those advanced degrees was $245,000 of student loan debt alone. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Credit card debt. We were struggling. We were living paycheck to paycheck. At the time, I was the breadwinner. When I started Beachbody, I was the breadwinner. And my husband was a resident. Residents in his profession make about $25,000 a year after 10 years of training and education. They make $25,000 a year. They work about 60 to 80 hour weeks. In 3 years, I think we had like 2 weekends off. And by weekends, I mean like Saturday and Sunday. Every single Saturday and Sunday, he'd go check on his patients. So we could never leave town or go on vacations or trips. He didn't get real time off. And if he did, it was for like Christmas. He was on call like every other night. So over 3 years, when we lived in Raleigh, North Carolina, we actually took 2 weekend trips ever, because that's all we could do in 3 years. 1, because we couldn't afford it. 2, because he never got time off. And 3 years ago, as we were living paycheck to paycheck, there would literally be moments where, I'd go to the grocery store and I'd like hold my breath and be like, please go through when I swipe the credit card. Previous to that, I was actually on debt collection before getting my master's degree. So after college, I was on debt collection. When I was 23 years old, I got on debt collection. Yay, adulthood. I couldn't pay back my student loans, which led to me getting my master's, which was good, but then I had more student loans. So I robbed Peter to pay Paul. And I kept telling myself, you guys, that it was going to get better. I don't know if anyone's ever done that before, but I kept saying to myself, it's going to get better because Ben is going to finish his residency. When he finishes his residency, he's going to be earning $125,000 a year as a surgeon. I was like, it'll get better then. It'll get so much better, even though we had $250,000 in student loan debt. But then I realized what better was going to look like in the sacrifice of better. And I realized it one day when I said to Ben, I can't wait until we have kids and you get to be the little league coach. Can't wait to see you be the little league coach at our games. And Ben looked at me very seriously and he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, like when you're the coach of our little league teams. And he's like, I will be lucky if I get to go. I don't even know if I'll get to go, let alone be a coach. He's like, do you understand what my work life is going to look like after I'm done with this residency? Honestly, our residency was pretty relaxed comparatively to other people's. And given Ben and where he wanted to take his career, he was going to go for the best hospital in the nation, which meant starting at the bottom, which meant 100% 80-hour work weeks, every night on call. That was going to be the first 5 years. And even if that was a $125,000 paycheck, it came at the cost of a family. And given the value that I put on family time, quality time, being together and having that time together, hearing that crushed me. And given the state of our marriage 3 years ago, it was bad. It was really bad. We were fighting about money all the time, about money. Even though I knew he was going to be paid more in the future, I also knew our student loan debt was going to suck it all up. So like thinking about buying a house, paying back student loans, having kids, at the end of those three things, we were still going to be living paycheck to paycheck, 110%. We were still going to be scraping by if we wanted to take vacations, which he wouldn't even get to come to. I'd be taking the kids by myself for family vacations. There was absolutely no way around it. And at the time, our marriage was crumbling 3 years ago. And to be honest with you, I had almost decided we just won't do kids. When I was a teacher first, I became a teacher because I wanted that lifestyle balance. And here I was at 28 saying to myself, I don't think I want kids. I don't want kids. I had got my undergrad based upon having children before I was even old enough to think about marriage. And so I started changing these stories in my head because I saw the crack. And instead of addressing that crack in my life, which was going to be family time and which was going to be living paycheck to paycheck, I changed my story to maybe I don't want kids. We'll just skip that part. Because I also thought in the back of my head, given the strain in our marriage was going to crumble under the stress of kids. We would not make it. Between finances and just marital stress, putting kids on it, I was like, nope. Like, I looked forward to my future in 2014, and I thought, there's an expiration date here if we have kids. And it was scary. And I didn't want that. And I know I love my husband. I knew I loved my husband. I don't even have kids yet. And I freaking love those little suckers that aren't even here. And so while my pain point wasn't even real, you guys, I didn't have a real pain point. I was envisioning my pain point. And I was envisioning what happens to my life if I don't change it. And we would have been like almost every other American couple. We probably would have posted pretty pictures on Facebook of family photos and faked it and been like, look at my husband, he's a surgeon. Well, like, who cares? It would have all been a lie. And that is the lie that a lot of people are living. And I realize they're living it now that I'm a coach and I've had so many conversations with people. And so I identified that crack in 2014. And actually every year leading up to 2014, I want to tell you what my thought process was. It was this. I got screwed by the educational system. The education system is screwed up. The teaching system, it is so screwed up. I can't believe they're doing this to me. I can't believe the vet school is doing this to Ben. I can't believe how unfair the world is to me. I can't believe that this world is out to get me. And it's all their fault, that the education system and in Ben's career, and it's so unfair that all of these things are so messed up and it's their fault. That was my take about my life. I blamed everybody and everything, including my husband, for all the cracks in our life. And then I found Beachbody. So that's a little bit about me when I came in. On top of that, just so you guys know, the woman who is sitting here right now talking to you today, I'm still the same girl. I'm still scared sometimes. I'm still, I have doubts and fears and insecurities, but I'm better. I'm better than I was in 2014. I'm not different. I'm just improved. And that took work. So I do want you to know, like, in 2014, when I came into this, I was terrified of posting on social media. Before I became a coach in 2014, I started in July. I had posted twice on social media before I became a coach, 2 times in 6 months. That's how much I hated it. I hated selfies. I hated mirror selfies, sweaty. You've got to be joking if you think I'm going to talk about working out online. Those people are gross. If you want to sell me a shake, get out of my face. Like, I don't want anything to, I'm way better than all of that. Don't you know? But I wasn't. And I realized that the crack in my life was going to get a whole lot bigger if I didn't do something. So I came in and I was like, where do I want my life to be in 5 years? And what am I going to do to change it? And I can tell you right now, so Ben has been out. Ben finished his residency last July. And then he took a year off to study for boards because of Beachbody. He didn't have to work. And then we looked at our life. So we went to marriage therapy in 2013. And the marriage therapist, I'm still mad at her for saying this. The marriage therapist, after we told her about Ben's career and time and scheduling and all this, she looked at us and she said, so basically you two don't know each other, do you? And she said, you've never known each other. Because we did long distance, and then Ben started vet school, which was time intensive. And then he started his internships and residencies. And so she's like, so basically you guys don't even know each other really at all. Like, you have not spent very much time together in 8 years. And I was like, I hate you. And you're right. That was the truth though. So thank God for this opportunity, because as I was writing out my calendar in 2016, I was writing out all these travels, and I was like, I want my husband to be there with me. And we were afforded the opportunity because of this for him to not work, which is not unheard of, because he had to start paying back his loans as well. So it's not like we didn't have our stuff. But because of the income that we are making with Beachbody and that we were making, it is affordable. Additionally, he has not even taken a full-time job because we have chosen a lifestyle over his career. 12 years training to be a surgeon. He is probably one of the most skilled people in his class. I would put money on it. There's only like 20 a year in that class. And he was going to be the best. I guarantee you that he would have been the best in his career field, but the best was going to come at a cost. It was going to come at a cost of time and family and working all the time. And so we chose a different path. I call him a substitute surgeon now. And he works like once every 3 or 4 weeks for a hospital out in Maryland, Monday through Friday. He cuts the surgeries. He comes home. So we are so blessed because if you don't know, the veterinary career field has the highest or second to highest suicide rate of all careers. It is a very challenging career field for a lot of reasons. But so we're very blessed to get to choose and to get to have time together. So if Beachbody hadn't come into our life right now, I would be sitting at home alone. I guarantee you, 8 o'clock. He might have gotten home like an hour ago. I'd probably be really angry at him for something, for money or something. Like, it would just be ugly. We wouldn't be in Kansas. We wouldn't have had the choice to where we picked where we wanted to move in Kansas, where my family is. So life would look different, and I'd be angry still. And I'd still be blaming the entire world for why my life sucked. Then I found Beachbody. And I'm going to tell you, early on in my Beachbody career, I was listening to Success Principles. So I do all my personal development and I listen to it on audio. And something that he said struck me. And so I want you to look at that question I ask you. I ask you, what's your biggest challenge in this business right now? And the reason I ask you that question is because last week or this week, I don't know when it was, Doug Moss interviewed me because I have one of the highest growing incomes this year in Beachbody. So Carl asked Doug to interview, like, I don't know if it was top 10 or whatever, like top 10 income producing coaches in the past year whose income has grown the most in the company. I am one of those people. And he asked me the question, what is the biggest challenge in your business right now? And my gut reaction was me. My mindset, my belief, my leadership. Do you have that type of self accountability? That's what it takes to grow and to continue to grow and to continue to grow, is always saying, what can I change to be better? What can I do differently to be better? And 3 years ago, I was listening to Success Principles, and he said on there something to the effect of, you have to take ownership of your life. When something goes wrong, the only question you need to ask yourself is, what did you do to cause it? What did you do to make this happen? When you do that, I'm going to tell you right now, it is the scariest thing, but it is the most empowering thing ever. It is the most empowering thing ever, because I can't control who likes my posts. I can't control who says yes to me. I can't control my coaches, if they show up, if they work, if they hit Success Club. All I can control is myself. That's it. I can control my actions and what I do every day and the energy I put into those actions. And that is it. And if I'm not getting the response that I want in my business, I say, Ruth, what can you do differently? So I want you to think about how you address challenges in your life. Are you looking to blame, or are you asking yourself, okay, what can I do? How can I innovate? How can I change? How can I be better? How can I grow? How can I get over my self-doubt and insecurities? Which is something I've done. Fun fact, I went 15-star in June, I think. June. That was also the month I had like 1 million coaches go Star Diamond team leader. We took #1 in the company for the second time because of June. In June, I hit a wall of self-doubt, depression. There was one Monday when I literally, I can count on one hand, two hands, how many times I haven't worked at all, 0, not even one message in 3 years. And I laid in bed one Monday and I did nothing all day long. And I sat there and I felt sorry for myself. And I thought to myself, I'm not good enough. Why? What am I doing? All these self-doubts and insecurities. I just hit the top rank in the company with my team. My team took #1. And here I am doubting myself, you guys. I am not superhuman. I don't have superhuman confidence. I don't have superhuman strength. I am normal. But this accountability of, okay, Ruth, what can you do differently? And I said to my husband that day, and I've been going through a lot in my personal life this year, trying to get pregnant. I'm off my ADHD meds that I've been on for 10 years. I'm off my birth control. I'm Looney Tunes upstairs right now, if you want the real truth. And so dealing with all of that is super, super hard. Your brain functions are totally different when you take out 2 chemicals that have been in your life for 10 years. And for a long time, I was like, it's because of the meds, but I had to ask myself, well, they're not here anymore. What are you going to do about it? How do you want to live your life? Because you don't have those things. So you have the choice of, are you going to lay in bed and cry every day? Or are you going to get up and do something about it? And so I said to my husband that day, I said, I've never identified myself with depression. I've never thought to myself, I have depression. I said, but maybe this is depression. Maybe this is what I'm going through. And I said, I have to do something. I have to get help because I don't want to stay here. And honestly, it would have been easier to, how easy it'd be for me to stay in bed every day? Seriously, you guys, I could stay in bed every day and I'd get a big paycheck every week. You have to ask yourself, are you going to show up when you are getting a huge paycheck? The reason why I have a huge paycheck now is because I showed up when I never had a huge paycheck. I showed up when it was 0, and I show up in the exact same way when it's $30,000 a month. I don't have to show up. Honestly, it would float for a long time. It would just float right there, stay right there. I could lay in bed and be like, I have depression. I'm off my meds and I'm just going to stay here. But I didn't, because I took responsibility and I made a choice to own it. I called a life coach that day. I called a life coach and I invested in a life coach to help me start walking through these things, to help me focus. And I dug deep. And honestly, I don't even think it was depression. I think it was self-doubt and insecurities. And I think those things kind of surface as depression sometimes. And maybe it was depression. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I definitely think depression is a real, absolutely real thing, but I don't know. I don't know for me what it was, but I can tell you what it felt like, and it felt horrible. And it felt like I never wanted to get out of bed. And my life coach actually said to me, "What would you do tomorrow if you could do anything?" And I said, "I'd stay in bed." 2 years ago, I worked with a life coach because I had fear of making money. And he asked me the same question. And he said, "What's your dream day look like?" And I said, "Complete freedom, being my own boss, having my husband home, walking outside to my pool in my backyard." I was living that life and I didn't want to get out of bed. So no matter where you are, whether you are a brand new coach or whether you have all the success, huge quotes right there, all the success in the world, you have to take accountability and you have to continue to choose that daily. And I say this to you guys because honestly, that why that you wrote down, I care about your why. I care about your life more than your excuses, because I was there. I felt it. I saw the cracks in my life. I hear those stories from my coaches about living paycheck to paycheck, or their husbands working overtime, or them going to work every day after maternity leave, or those things. That's what I care about. And I care more about those cracks you want to fill than I care about your excuses. So I'm going to ask you guys, I want you guys to own your business. I want you guys to own your business. So this is where you guys are going to rate yourself. Okay. I'm going to have you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is the very best. Okay. And I'm not a 10 on all these, trust me. So like, you don't need to be like, feel bad. I can, when actually I'm like, ooh, when I start to rate myself, fail on that one. So it's not like I'm just over here like perfect 10, 10, 10, 10. No, I have ups and downs too, but my goal every day is to be better. Personal development. Where are you on this scale? Now, let me tell you what a 10 looks like. Let me tell you what a 10 looks like. Having a 10 in personal development means this. You are reading it, absorbing it, and applying it. You know that you are a 10 if you are waking up and if you are acting in positive action. If you are taking the things that you read and you are applying them to your life and it is making a visible difference. Because once you do that, you're going to know you're a 10. You're going to be like, woo, I'm a 10. Okay? That's how it shows up in your life. You're not just reading it. You know what I hate? I'm sorry. I'm just going to go up. You know what I hate? I wish that everyone who has ever posted a positive, inspirational quote on Facebook would live up to it. Would live up to it. And when I post things on Facebook, I have to ask myself every day, are you living up to that quote? Are you practicing what you preach? Are you, and this is the one thing throughout my fitness journey as a leader on my team that has built trust with not only my followers, my team, because that story I just shared with you about feeling depressed, I shared that on a live video feed on my Facebook. They know that. I told my followers that story. So with me, I don't post on social media, what do you want to hear? I post on social media, what's happening in my life, good or bad. And if it's bad, how am I getting through it? How am I overcoming it? Because I know someone else is going through something similar and I want to share that with them. Personal development. Are you applying it to your life? Are you taking the things that you read and are you really absorbing it? Or is it just you're reading it, putting it down, and you don't even remember what you read 10 minutes later because you're not letting it sink in, or you're not applying it, or you're not doing a lot of books, have like little activities. That's how you know you're a 10, is if it is changing your mindset. You can feel that happening. Second one, product of the product. How do you know if you're a 10? I'm going to add a little thing on here too. You only can be a 10 one way. You are a 10 of a 10 if you are following your program from start to finish, the workout calendar, the nutrition plan, and you're following the nutrition plan. It's really hard to be a 10 and 10 in product with product. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a 10 and 10 in product with product right now. Pretty close, but if you are not making up your own rules, right? So if you're like, well, I like blues, so I'm going to have 2 blues every day because I really like cheese. I like cheese too. I like cheese too. You know, my favorite thing in the world is rainbow chip frosting. Can I get an amen? Like, that is the best thing in the world. Like, that is my all-time favorite food. Rainbow chip frosting by Betty Crocker. They actually discontinued it about 3 years ago, and I emailed Betty and I let her know I was signing a petition and I was very disheartened on my birthday that they took rainbow chip away and they brought it back. It was an amazing day. But I love rainbow chip frosting. But you know what? I love my family and my husband and the life that I wanted to create more than rainbow chip frosting. So I don't eat it that much. I reserve rainbow chip frosting for special days. Maybe a weekend, because like it's a whole can, and if I bring it into my house, I'm going to eat the whole thing. So it's like maybe a weekend, then it's gone. Or are you making up? So are you product? Are you following the plan? Not making up your own rules. I think that's the biggest thing. People will be like, yeah, I'm following it. My challengers especially. And I'll be like, so tell me what you eat every day. Well, I do really good until dinner. I'm like, I asked you if you were following the plan and you said yes. And then now the story is, oh, you follow it from 8 to 5. And then at 5, you come home and you have 3 Oreos with your dinner. Like, what? No, you are not following it. And what we do is we tell ourselves that it's okay for some reason. We make up a story. We all do this. I do it too. But I have to check myself and be like, nope, can't do that. Are you following those workouts? And then with that, are you falling in love with your body and with your healthy life? Now, don't get me wrong when I say this, because I hate working out. I'm just never going to like it. I don't like it. But I do love my body. And I love how it makes me feel when I follow my plan. And my biggest piece in this business in the beginning was when I saw my body change, because I didn't think it would change. And I followed that 21-day fix almost to a T. I had given myself a 9 back then, 9 on that scale. And I shocked myself. And that was awesome. And I was like, everyone should do this program. But do you know what happened next? The next few months, that's when I learned that I still hated my body, even though I was the smallest I'd ever been. And I was tearing myself apart in the mirror. I was calling myself fat. I was like a 00. I was so small then. And I could not love my body. And on that day, I knew I had to change, because I was sitting here saying, oh my gosh, look how awesome these products are. Look how much it's changed my body, but I still hate it. Why do I hate my body? I think we all go through maybe that struggle. And so I made a deal with myself that I had to change my thoughts. And every single day, it was a challenge. I would look in the mirror. Anytime a negative thought would creep into my head, I would push it out. I would push out that thought. It would have to be a conscious effort. And I would replace it with positive things about my body. And anytime I would put on spandex, and like those stupid spandex, like you always like roll over those spandex. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, it doesn't matter how big or small you are. You're always going to roll over those spandex. And anytime I'd put on those spandex and I'd roll over them, because all my challengers would be like, my spandex, I still roll over them. And I'd be like, you weigh 100 pounds. Like, what are you talking about? And here I was 125 pounds saying the same thing. And I was like, what am I talking about? And I had to say to myself, no, I love my body. Whether or not I roll over my spandex does not matter. It does. How does this make me a better person? And secondly, rolling over your spandex is a normal world. It's normal, Instagram, unless you stand perfectly in the mirror and take the selfie, which we all know how to nail, right? Rolling over those spandex is normal. So I had to talk to myself. So being a product of the product is not only using our products to transform our body, but also in that same step, making the conscious choice to love our body. To the moment I loved my body, I was unstoppable in this business. You couldn't stop me because I saw how many other women hated their body and I wanted to change that. That's being a product. Social media. Are you a 10? Okay, so this is where Kathy might disagree with me on a lot of things. So always listen to her. It is her business. Like, she can disagree wherever she wants. So I never post on social media 5 times a day. I'm just going to say that. And it's actually been a realization that I've had recently. Like, I have never posted on social media 5 times a day, ever. Ever. And I've never said that to my team either until I was talking to a girl last night and I was like, I don't ever do that. So are you sharing on social media at least, I would say 2 times is an important number to hit. I think that's a good number to strive for. But I think over that is your quality. If someone goes to your social media, I want you to go look at your social media. Do they know who you are? Do they know what you've went through in health, in fitness, and in life? Do they know the journey you are on? Because I'm on a journey right now. 3 years later, I'm still on a journey. People know that. I have really big, stupid, scary goals in this business. And like, I told the world all those goals, so that was stupid, but it happened. But when you tell the world your journey, especially when you tell the world your vision, you will inspire them. And half of them are going to be like, oh, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to watch you fail. But they're going to watch you. And then guess what? You have the choice to prove them wrong. You have the choice to prove them wrong. And even if you don't prove them wrong, in the effort to prove them wrong, you're going to get really dang close to your goal if you actually show up every day. If you actually show up. In my first year as a coach, we set a goal. So 2015 was my first full year. And in March, we set a goal to be a top 10 team. We ended at 19 or 20. I don't remember. Was I sad? No, I was freaking excited. Like, that was awesome. Like, I don't care if I was 19 or 20. Like, I was excited we accomplished that. This year, I told the world that we were going to be number 1, which is actually the dumbest thing I have ever said in my life. Like, Melanie is a beast machine. Do I care if we are number 1 or number 10? No. We better be 10 or up. But like, I don't care if we're actually number 1. I do care. I think it'd be awesome, right? Because she's like the Goliath here. But like, the point is I set that goal, I set that vision on social media. And when I do that, people are intrigued because they're like, who do you think you are? And I'm like, nobody, but let's do it anyway. Like, that's what we got to do. And when you do that, and your goals can be very different, they don't have to be anything like, it doesn't even have to be a Beachbody goal, you guys. But when you share that on social media, and when people see you in your journey, that's what they want to see. That's how you inspire them. And you inspire them by sharing your real truth. I had a new coach the other day, and she does a great job at just sharing her honest truth on social media, whether it's health and fitness or whether it's business. And so she'll, post about it, and she'll share live videos. She does the same in her challenge groups. And one of her challengers, Nikki had posted something, and one of her challengers simply said, "Thank you for being so honest and real in your journey. I will follow you wherever you go. Whatever team you have, I want to be on it." She said nothing about, "Nikki, you're so organized and you have really great training and you do everything perfect." She said, "You are so authentic." Actually, she even said this, "You are so authentic and real and you share your struggles," or something like that. She said, "You're so honest about your struggles and your challenges." It isn't about being perfect, you guys. Perfection's never going to inspire anybody, and neither is a Shakeology selfie. Like, that's not going to inspire anyone either. What is going to inspire people is you sharing your truth on social media. What do you want for your life, your business, your health, your fitness? Do your people know that, or do they just see you working out and you're like real happy about it? Because I don't think I'm ever happy when I post my workout stuff. So that's what I want you to look at your social media. And here's just a very tangible tip in this. When you post on social media, do you think to yourself, do you think, what can I say today to get someone to buy a challenge pack? Or do you think to yourself, what am I going through right now? How was my attitude before that workout? How is my attitude now? Do you think to yourself, how did I feel when I weighed 50 pounds heavier than I do now? What was my journey like to get where I am today? And if I could tell my old self what this journey would be like, what would I tell my old self? You don't need to try and sell a challenge pack on social media by saying the right things. You will actually never sell a challenge pack by saying the right things. You will sound like a salesperson by saying the right things. But if you simply share your truth, and I ask myself, am I being honest? Am I being real? Am I being me? And if I do that, then I've done it right. That's how I know if I'm doing a good job. And even to this day, some days I'm like, I don't know what to share on social media. What should I say? And I literally have to be like, Ruth, what is happening in your life? What is going well? What's going hard? Okay, put those two things together, share it, share that. And personal development helps a lot because a lot of the times I get my motivation from personal development about what I'm going to share that day. How did that personal development impact me in my life? And it brings up a part of my story that I can share. And the last accountability check, inviting. And if you were your own boss you are your own boss, but if you were working for you and you could be fired, and if you're the boss, you come in, you're like, hey, so-and-so, hey, myself, like, have you done your inviting today? Have you done the power hour, friending, forming, inviting, following up? Let me see it. And if you pull out your tracker sheets from the past 30 days, how many days did you actually do it? How many days have you actually shown up to do it? Because if the answer is 4 or 10 of the last 30 or even 15, there's your answer as to why this business is or isn't working for you. Like, inviting is a critical key. Actually, Kathy, she did a call for me. We were talking about it afterwards. And I said to her, have you always invited? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, me too. Like, ever since the day I came in, I think my first 2 weeks, I invited 60 people. Like, I have always invited. And here's a great tip too. When I hit 15 star, when my team went number 1, the most banging, booming time on my social media ever, the most hype ever on my social media while I'm in the background crying and not doing anything, my lowest month ever in 3 years of Success Club, my lowest month ever. Why? Because I was crying in bed on a Monday. And I was not putting my heart and soul into it. I was not focused on inviting. I wasn't. I still have to show up. People are not running to my website or my YouTube or my social media. Whatever you see people commenting on my social media, most of them are they've already been challengers and they're coaches, and that's who comments on my stuff. Like, they are not new people who are just like, oh, sign me up. They're like the person who's been on my challenge group 10 times. And you're like, you didn't do it the last 10 times. Why are you going to do it this time? So inviting, I'm serious. Look at your numbers. Look at your numbers. And are you talking to them like real people? Are you talking to them like they are a person and getting to know them and having a conversation about them and their life and listening and empathizing and then figuring out how you can truly help them as opposed to just sell them a challenge pack and move on to the next? It is totally different when you get to know someone in that conversation. The moment I have a conversation with someone, I am their cheerleader. I might be the only person in their world who gives a single crap about their health. and I am their cheerleader. And whether or not they say yes to me does not matter. This is bigger than a challenge pack. This is bigger than a success club point. This is bigger than that. I don't know about you guys, but when I was a child, I never ever once said, I want to be a superstar #1 Beachbody coach. I never said that. Do you know what I did say though? I said, I want to impact people. I want to make a difference in people's life. And that is why I can't stay in bed crying on a Monday because I don't feel good. That is why I have to become my best self, because I want to make a difference in the lives of my challengers, in the lives of my coaches. It doesn't matter if I'm 15-star or 1-star. I don't care. But I do care that I'm giving my all to these people. And I do care that I'm showing up consistently for these people. And I do care that my coaches see me doing what I ask them to do. That's what I care about. And so these accountability checks, it's so funny because every time when I do this with a team, I think to myself how I need to be better. Every single time. I had like this sense of guilt of like, dang, I need to do this better. I need to be better. And that is all that you have to do is check yourself and be better every single day. Show up to be the person you wanted to be when you signed up to be a coach. Did you want to be more fit? Be more fit. Our programs work. Did you want to impact lives? Impact lives. It starts with social media and sharing your real story, and it starts with inviting. That's where it starts. All of those things. I guarantee you, every single one of you, when Kathy said, why do you want to be a coach? You said, because I want to help people. You can't help people unless you're sharing on social media, and you can't help people unless you are inviting every single day. And I am going to end with this story. In December of 2014, I was 6 months into coaching. I told you I rocked out my 21-day fix program, rocked it out. I lost 9 pounds, but I found my abs that I'd never ever had in my life. I was invited to the 21-day fix infomercial in December. I went out there, and lo and behold, I was actually not a real cast member. I got there and there were 17 other people there, and I was like, oh, I'm just like a filler. I'm like an audience seat member. But I got there and there were so many amazing stories. It was really my first Beachbody event besides Super Saturdays, because I signed up after Summit. So it was super cool because most of these people, they were a lot of coaches. Like I had no idea all these people like were coaches until I got there. Most of them were coaches, amazing transformations. And there was one individual, and he had lost 100 pounds. And like 100 real pounds. And he went from being 100 pounds overweight to having ripped out abs. And it was like mind blowing how he did that in like less than a year. And it was filmed at a hotel. So me and this other girl who were about the same age, the same size, were walking through the lobby one day. And we were walking by this door, and there's this huge man outside, and he was like, ladies, can you please be quiet as you walk by this door? They're filming inside. Lo and behold, he was a security guard making sure everyone was quiet because they were filming stories inside of that door. And we're like, oh, is it for the infomercial? Who's in there? So we started talking to this security guard who I call Harry, who I've called Harry for 3 years. And Harry was probably 100 to 150 pounds overweight, very, very large man. And he's like, I don't know, but it's getting real serious in there. I don't know. This guy's crying. So we like look in, we see who it is. We know his story. So we're like, oh, we know who that is. We're like, have you heard his story? We're like, this man, we're like, he used to eat McDonald's every single day for breakfast and for lunch. So he'd go to work, get McDonald's, get it for lunch. And then he'd come home every single day, and he has 2 kids. And guess what? He would be so tired at 3:30 when he came home. He would make his kids go to the neighbor's house and play. So he didn't have to spend time with his children. And so he could take a nap every single day. His kids were like 5, 6, 7, 8. He didn't have the energy to play with his children. So he asked them to leave the house so he could take a nap every day. That's how he filled the crack in his life. And his crack was, well, this is just normal. I'm just tired and busy. Insert 21-day fix. He loses 100 pounds in like 6 months, something crazy, changes his life, but it changes his family. His son and his daughter now have a dad that doesn't sleep when he comes home from work, that plays with him, that plays with the kids, that is carrying and running up and down the streets with his kids after he gets off work. His entire family has changed. And we're telling this to Harry, and Harry is sitting there, eyes wide open, and he's like, that guy was over 100 pounds old? Are you kidding me? No way. And I was like, yeah, way. And so me and this girl were like, oh, well, yeah, we're like Beachbody coaches. And like, we have these challenge groups. And I don't know, maybe like we'll show you what we do. And so at the same time, this guy comes out of filming. This dad comes out of filming. And Harry is like, whoa, Brad Pitt, hello, like storms over to him. He's like, hey, dude, I heard your story. And I'm eating McDonald's every day. And I'm sleeping after work every day. And I don't know my kids either. And I heard your story. And dude, I am the old you. You have got to show me what you do. You've got to show me how you did that. And me and this girl are like, hello, we just told you we would tell you over here. But he didn't want us, you guys. He didn't want us. Because he didn't relate to our story, but he saw himself in this dad. He saw this dad as what he could become. And in that, he saw hope to change his life. Here's the other side of the story, is that this dad wasn't doing personal development. This dad wasn't growing his mindset. This dad was not trying to learn to believe in himself. And so he really doubted his capability to be a leader. And I just told you what a leader is. And I just told you a leader is someone who shows up and then shares their honest truth every day with the people following them. And that is it. And this dad didn't know if he could be a leader and if he could be a coach. And while he was a discount coach, he was not actively doing anything else with the business, because as he told me, he didn't know if he was good enough. What happens to Harry if he doesn't believe he's good enough? Where is Harry now if this dad didn't help him? Where are Harry's kids? What's his wife doing? What does his life look like? Every single one of you has a Harry watching you. You might not know it. You might not think you do. But I guarantee you, if you show up and you share your story on social media, there are Harrys there watching you every single day. And they need you to share your story, and they need you to invite them. And so while you might hear this thing called Success Club, it is so much bigger than that. It is so much bigger than a little medal or a ribbon that we get or a t-shirt. It is about the Harrys out there who need us. But the only way that we get to help Harry is if we are doing these things every single day. And that choice is totally up to you. You have that choice. I have that choice. And it just comes down to what choice are we going to make today. That is all I have.
Wow, that was seriously so good, guys, wasn't it? I wrote like so many notes down. Like, your story was so awesome. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Your story was just so awesome and so many great takeaways, guys. I hope that you guys took notes. Just to recap, I'd like to go over like my most important favorite things. Even though the whole thing was just so good, I'm definitely going to have to go back and rewatch it. But just identifying, I like how you started out with the 2 questions at the beginning, guys. Like, what is your biggest challenge like right now? What is your why? Those 2 things, identifying them. And I love how you talked about how we all have cracks in our life, and how if you don't do something about it and take that ownership, that they're only going to get bigger. Another key thing too that I really love that you talked about was how the difference in your mentality, your mindset when you were going through all of that, right? How you were playing the victim, you were blaming. And sometimes it's a lot easier to do that.
Yep.
And switched, and how you flip-flopped it over to taking ownership over your life and ownership over your business. And that's hard. When she said, like, when you look yourself in the mirror, if you're not happy with where you are, if you're not happy with the life that you're living, if you're not happy with where you are just in this business or in any area of your life, and asking yourself, what can I do to make it better? How can I improve it? How can I become better? But that once you do that, that's when you start to see the changes, the positive changes in your life. And if you just keep sharing your story, like she said, like your authentic self, whether somebody signs up with you or not, guys, you inspire way more people than you even know. Way more people than you even know. Does anybody have, I know this call, like, we needed this so bad. Does anybody have any last minute questions for Ruth while we have her? Anything you want to know? Just taking it all in. I like how you gave us the rating scale too. That was so helpful.
I hate doing that because I'm always like, oh, I need to do so much better myself.
I know. I'm like, when you're like, product of the product, I'm like, 5. Oh gosh. Well, anyways, thank you, Ruth, so much for coming on. I loved hearing you. I loved hearing your story. I loved the takeaways. Took so many notes, and I know the team totally appreciated it too. So thank you guys for being here. And thank you again so much, Ruth. And I hope you guys have an awesome, awesome night. All right.
Thank you.